Meantime, since no agreement was reached before midnight last night to fund government operations, we are in this partial government shutdown. What impact will a shutdown have on things like pay, pensions, benefits for federal employees? Jonathan Bell is a federal employment attorney. He's with us live this morning. Morning, Jonathan. What about workers who are not working getting paid? Can it still happen?
Well, it can still happen. During the Clinton administration, they did, in fact, give these federal employees back pay. However, there certainly is no guarantee. For example, earlier this year, the Department of Defense was under furlough, and they were not given. The federal employees were not given the back pay. So there's no guarantee.
Wow. How do you plan for that?
Well, it's tough. I mean, we're talking about federal employees. They're not the wealthiest group. They're very patriotic. They could have made more money in the private sector, but for their own reasons, they decided to work for the federal government. And, these are not people taking luxury vacations. These are people that are, day to day. They need the money to put food on the table, put their kids through college. I mean, they're really getting the short end of the stick here.
What about IOUs? Is that a guarantee, or IOUs are not even a guarantee?
Well, the only guarantee are for those federal employees that are deemed essential employees, and they're going to be forced to work and not get paid temporarily. However, when the spending bill is passed, they are going to be given back pay. Federal employees deemed non-essential, which is about close to 1 million federal employees, where the government has about 2.1 federal employees in total, so a little less than half, have no idea whether or not they're going to get paid at the end of this, and they're not even allowed to volunteer their time. They're not going to be working until a spending bill passes.
So if let's say they don't get paid, what about pension contributions? Are they still made?
Pension contributions are not made. I mean, historically, the longest one has lasted 21 days, so you're not talking about a long period of time. The pensions are not going to be affected that much. It's more going to be the days or months or weeks or months that they're going to be without pay for their upcoming expenses.
We're speaking with Jonathan Bell. He's a federal employment attorney. We're talking about today's partial government shutdown. So we've got these 800,000 non-essential government workers. You speak with these folks. Do they feel like, I don't know, they're insignificant when they're referred to as non-essential?
Yeah. Well, the government is trying to shift terms now from it to accepted and not accepted, which they find is a little less hurtful. But I mean, the essential employees are the law enforcement, military, and intelligence. For example, this thing's going to hit different agencies very differently. For example, NASA, 95% of those employees are going to be furloughed, as opposed to Department of Homeland Security, where about 84% are going to be returning to their work.
All right. So is there any way to prepare for this?
Well, hopefully they've saved some money for those who are not going to get paid to pay their expenses. And, other than that, at this point in time, there's nothing that they could do to prepare. Even agencies like the MSPB or EEOC, where they bring claims to dispute these types of actions, they're all quote-unquote non-essential employees. So those agencies are going to basically be shut down as well.
Wow. So what do you advise them? Is there anything to advise at this point as a federal employment attorney?
Well, just if there are employees considered essential, they have to look at those employees. If they believe they are essential employees but being labeled as non-essential, then they should contact a federal employee attorney like myself to weigh their options.
Thanks for a few minutes this morning. I appreciate it, Jonathan. Jonathan Bell, federal employment attorney, discussing the impact on federal workers as we enter today's partial government shutdown. It's 20 minutes now before the hour on the Wall Street Journal this morning. Coming up next, a list of things that Obamacare won't tell you.